We've just aired something you wouldn't normally expect to see on a network newscast, roughly 13 minutes of unedited remarks from a local city council meeting in Texas. We did it because of the honesty and the passion of the speaker, and because of the life and death nature of the subject. Joel Burns, in public, for the first time, shared his heart-rending experience as a target of bullies who attacked him because he's gay. People know that Joe Burns is gay. He now knows that he's among the lucky who survived to lead rich and productive lives, and he wants other gay teens to survive too. He wants kids who are bullied to stand up and stay with us. Joel, thanks for being with us.
Thank you very much.
Joel, you took your earpiece out. I didn't live your experience, and it was hard for me to watch. Both times I've seen it, you took your earpiece out while we were watching this. It's hard for you to listen to your own words.
That's true. It's actually the first time I had heard it without seeing it. And the part about my dad and really about my parents in general is still the toughest part for me, as you could see from the video from Tuesday night.
But that's part of the important part. That's the part that you want people to remember. That as hard as it seems, it gets better. And as hard as those pressures are, stick around, and life gets better. How does it get better?
In a wide variety of ways, and the reality is that it gets better in ways you can never fathom as a 13 or 14-year-old when your experience has been what it has been up until that moment, and times are dark, and you're either being bullied or harassed at school or outside school. You've got a household of folks who may not accept you. There may be any kind of abuse around it, and you may think that there's just really no hope of that time after adolescence and after your teenage years. And as I mentioned, I've often thought, wouldn't it be wonderful if I could go back and show to the me that existed as a teenager that really didn't think that the future was all that bright at times, and show him just the amazing, wonderful things that have happened in the course of my adult life. And, you know, it's a story that continues. I mean, I wish I could show the 13-year-old not only all the things that I said in that video, but, I mean, the fact that I'm on CNN today is just something I would have never guessed as a 13-year-old or even really a few weeks ago.
You weren't looking for publicity, I know that. You are openly gay, but people didn't have the impression, perhaps, that you struggled the way you did as a kid, and I think that's the issue here, that we're not realizing in that interim, in that stage where people start to feel different, and maybe it's because you're gay, maybe it's not, maybe you're just different from everybody else. Are we not providing a society the civility or the access to the help and information and support that kids need?
I think the recent rash of suicides is indicative of the fact that we're not doing our job in that regard. I have a sister who's a teacher in a rural Texas high school, and she's been teaching for about 7 years now, and she told me the night of this, she called and said, I want you to know that I see this every day, and it's not just gay kids, it's anyone who's different, anyone who's perceived to be gay, perceived to be effeminate, overweight, you know, anything that's out of the norm. These kids can be very, very mean, and my sister and I talked about her experience as a teacher in rural Texas, and she says it's unlike anything when she first started teaching 7 years ago. And so, yes, I think that it has gotten worse, and I think that the rash of suicides is very indicative of that.
You said in your speech, for the adults, for the parents, this has got to stop. What do we do? What do the rest of us do who are not the bullied and who are not the bulliers?
I think there's a wide variety of things, and I think the very first thing for the parents, the teachers, the school administrators, the coaches, is to enable those kids, remind those kids that they have power and that it is okay for them to look around them and try to think of who in my school is being bullied, even if they're not the ones being bullied, although statistics say that 9 out of 10 kids report some form of harassment while in junior high and high school. Even if they're not, even if there's just that 10% that's not getting harassed, ask them to look around and ask them to see the kids that are in their classrooms that they may not be friends with, but they see getting picked on, and let that kid know that it's okay, that there's someone who might stand up for them, that there's someone that they can lean on, there's someone who will have their back. And it's important for the parents to give their kids that permission, to remind them that they can go to their classmate and say, hey, I know times are hard for you, and if you ever need a friend, let me know and I'll be there for you.
Your Twitter page, your Facebook must be getting a lot of hits. Mine certainly is as a result of this. Somebody just tweeted to say, I've seen how mean people can be. Even if I disagree with that lifestyle, we should love. That's kind of the point. Kind of the point is that we're not asking people to make decisions about whether you approve of homosexuality or not. That's not what this discussion is. This discussion is about civility. It's about pluralism. It's about respecting difference.
Well, it's not just that, but it's about creating a safe place for our kids to go to school. And even when they're out of school and they're at a local convenience store, at the shopping mall, or wherever they are, that they're not subjected to the kind of, really just over-the-top harassment and bullying that we've seen. Some of the kids, some of the guys that I referenced at the beginning of my comments, they had survived literally years of harassment and bullying that had largely, according to their parents, gone unanswered over the course from the administrators and principals and teachers. And that's something that has to stop.
Joel, how's your dad doing?
He's doing okay. He's out of the hospital, and this, I think, has been tough for him. I talked to my mom again this morning. My dad and I are close. We operate oftentimes in a way where we communicate sometimes through my mom. She's a little more chatty than my dad is. And I talked to my mom about, how is Dad doing? Because I specifically referenced him on Tuesday night. And I think that this has been hard for them. I think that I have really fantastic parents, and I know that in my upbringing that they wanted to be as there for me as they possibly could, and that they could interpret what I said on Tuesday, that there was some failing on their part. And the reality is they never failed me once. It's just that kids go through tough times and experience things outside the eye of their parents. And unfortunate things happen to me outside of their viewpoint. And those weren't things that they could protect me from, and I don't know that I would want them to be there at every single moment protecting me from them. But they're doing okay. My dad is, yes, sir.
No, that's good. I wanted to know, because I know that was a big part of motivating the comments that you made. And we thank you for doing what you did. We thank you for joining us. You're a credit to politics, to Texas, to your country. You're a hero, and your words will save lives. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
We'll be right back.